Hey yo everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video. And today we're going to be doing my top 5 likes and dislikes of the new DC relaunch. Now, we've been in the DC relaunch for a good 3 weeks now, and we're currently in the 4th week, and we've had some exposure to the comics. In addition to, as you guys know, I've been, for the most part, positive towards this relaunch. But I figure seeing that now we do have this exposure, now that we've read some of the first titles, I figured I'd give you guys the 5 things that I am happy with about the relaunch, and also the 5 things I'm disappointed about. Because as much as I am happy and excited and in full support of this DC relaunch, it doesn't mean that there isn't things that I'm not upset about. So what I figured I'd do is I at least give you guys the 5 things I like the most about this relaunch and the 5 things I dislike the most about this relaunch. And this was just stuff running through my head, so I figured I might as well just tell you. So let's start things off with number 5 for the thing that I like the most about the relaunch. Renumbering and easy accessible jumping on points. I know a lot of people are upset about them renumbering stuff and we're not going to get issue 1000 of Detective Comics or Action Comics. It doesn't really bother me. To me, it's just a number, and it's really the content of the story that matters to me, what's inside the pages. Again, this is just my personal opinion, but you can have issue 1000 and have it be a really crappy issue, or you can have issue 12 and have it be a fantastic issue. I'd rather have it be a fantastic issue. But I think this is a good thing because this allows people to jump onto the comics and new people to start reading comics. For someone like me who's been reading comics for a good amount of time, it gives me a chance to kind of jump on fresh to comics without having to worry about all the previous stuff beforehand, and it just, like I said, gives a good jumping on point for me. I'm now reading comics that I normally wouldn't read because, hey, I can jump on at issue number 1 and know that it will be inviting to me. So that's the number 5 thing that I like about the relaunch. The number 5 dislike about the relaunch is certain titles getting canceled. I'm looking at Suicide Squad instead of the Secret Six. Why don't we have the Secret Six and we have Suicide Squad? Nothing against Suicide Squad, but Secret Six was such a good title. Why don't we just transition it over into the relaunch? Or like Red Robin. That was a great title. Really enjoyed it. But why isn't it in the relaunch? I know they really had to trim the fat when it comes down to certain titles, but there's a lot of titles in the Batman family. I don't see why one title got chosen over Red Robin. It's just a title that I wanted to see continue onwards. Granted, we get Tim in the Teen Titans. Still want to see Red Robin. Or Booster Gold. I know Booster Gold wasn't doing so well in sales, but still a title that I would have liked to continue to read. We do get our daily dose of Boosterific from Justice League International, but still, there's certain titles that got canceled that I didn't like the fact that they got canceled. On to the number 4, good. The number 4 like is diversity in their titles. And I'm talking more about exactly what they're targeting, whether it's a superhero comic, whether it's a drama-like comic, a horror comic, a space comic, more of a crime comic. I like the fact there's a lot of different genres of comics that I can read. If you look at what I'm reading, I have a lot of traditional superhero comics with like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, a lot of the Justice League characters as well as the Justice League. But at the same time, I've also diversified myself in doing stuff like Justice League Dark, Swamp Thing, which are two, I guess, dark titles or horror titles, you can call them. And then also like the Demon Knights, which is more of a fantasy-based title. So I like the fact that they're giving a wide variety of options to choose from. I think DC has some of the best magic-based characters in comic books, and they're really showing some of those comic book characters here. So I like the fact that they give us a lot of diversity in what we can read for genres. Number 4 for the dislike. The dissolving of the marriage of Superman and Lois Lane, as well as Barry Allen and Iris West. As much as I'm okay with new directions being taken with characters, which needs to be done, certain stuff should just not be tampered with. Lois Lane and Superman worked well together, and we really didn't get too much exposure to Barry and Iris because they were a lot of Silver Age stuff. I really am upset that they dissolved this. The only thing that would really be redeeming for me is if they brought the marriage back in some way. Like, say, we're starting at this point in their career, but don't worry, eventually they'll get married again. Eventually we'll tell the marriage only in a more contemporary, modernized setting. I'd be okay with that, but as of now, we don't know that. And I like Lois and I like Clark being together. They were one of the best couples in comic books, in my opinion. And I really wanted Barry and Iris to stay together because they just work so well together. They're just that kind of cute couple that sit at home and kind of stuff. So the dissolving of those marriages upset me a bit. I'll get over it eventually, but it upset me. Hopefully they'll bring the marriages back. Maybe they just want to tinker around with some other stuff. I know they want to make Superman feel like he's alone in the world, but still, that upset me a little. Number 3 for the good. De-aging of the characters' ages to a degree. For example, Superman and Batman, if you do out the math, should be in their 40s. De-aging them to their early 30s and I guess even late 20s for Superman can be a good idea. De-aging Tim and Dick, good idea. Wally or Roy or Donna, good idea. I think there's to a point where you shouldn't de-age them too much. I think the ages should be somewhere around this. Superman, let's just take the Justice League. Superman, Batman, Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, and Barry Allen should be in their early 30s. Let's just say 32 to 34. Or, 33 is a nice safe age. So 32 to 33. And then have Cyborg be in his early 20s, and then Wonder Woman in her late 20s. I think that would have been a safer thing than make everyone but Batman and the Justice League in their early 20s. I don't like that, but I think it's a good thing that we are de-aging the characters. And another thing that they're doing with the ages, they're not really telling us. They're just giving us a general area so that people that get, very fixated on continuity on how old Bruce is, you don't have to worry. He's early 30s. It doesn't matter what early 30s he is. He's in early 30s. Dick is early 20s. We didn't get a confirmation he's 21. We got 21-ish. The ish actually means a lot, I guess. So I like the fact that I don't have to worry about how old they are, and it gives us, a chance to tell more vibrant younger stories too. So I like that. Not to the degree of making like Superman 22 years old, but de-aging them a bit can be a good idea. Number 3 on the dislike is lack of a stable timeline. While I know they're going into a new continuity, it would be refreshing to some fans to at least get a general idea on where things go. I'm not going crazy about it. I think Sterling Gates said it when he said, "Does it really matter? Just read the story. If you're going to allow continuity to upset you and not enjoy the story, I mean, that's not good. You should enjoy the story. But at the same time, we should have a general basis on where these stories take place. I think a good thing to do is what they did after the Crisis on Infinite Earths was a history of the DC Universe. I think something like that would be safe. I have my own mental timeline, like Bruce showed up and he's been around for 10 years, and all the other Justice League members, from what we told, have been around for about 6 years. Dick came in year 1 or 2 of Bruce being around and had been with Bruce for 7 years. At year 7 of Bruce's career, Jason came in for a bit but then died, and then Tim came in, and Tim's been Robin for about 3 to 4 years, and then Tim just relinquished the title to Damian. It's condensing it a lot, but I think a timeline, a general timeline would be helpful for some fans, just to get an idea of what's going on. So stability in the timeline, I would like to at least know generally what's going on. Number 2 for the things I like is the updated in costumes. Boy, are these costumes starting to look really good. I was hesitant at first, but I like all the Justice League costumes now. I know a lot of people are upset about certain things, like, for say, Superman's costume, but it's not like it's not recognizably Superman. It's Superman. It's not like I'm going to look at it and say, is that the Flash? Is that Spider-Man? No, it's Superman. There's certain things I would change about some of the costumes, like the trim on Superman's, sleeve end. I would make yellow instead of red. Kind of like how Supergirl had beforehand. But, there's just minor things. For the most part, I like a lot of the redesigns. There's some redesigns I don't like, but I like the updated costumes. They look good. They're loyal to the characters. Wonder Woman's costume is very much Wonder Woman, but it's updated. It's streamlined. It looks better. And I'm talking about the non-pants version because they're sticking with that. Batman's costume looks great. It's recognizably Batman. It looks good. Green Lantern, Aquaman's, Hawkman's, Nightwing's. They all look good. I like the new costumes. Which brings me to the number 2 dislike. And it has to do with the costumes. Is not knowing exactly if the previous costumes are in continuity. And knowing that some of the previous costumes are not in continuity. Allow me to explain. I want to know if all the previous Batman costumes were worn by Batman at some time. I know all Batman stuff is for the most part considered canon, but does that mean his costumes are? Did Dick have his costume? Did Tim have his Robin costume? We saw Jason in issue number 2 of Red Hood and the Outlaws fighting a younger Robin version of himself, and the costume looks radically different. So, does Batman keep his previous costumes? And more so, I'm upset that, although I like the new costumes for some of the characters, that we don't have the previous ones. Like Superman's older costume, I would have liked him at least to wear it for some time, and then we get the newer costume. For all we know, that could happen. Grant Morrison might have that happen in his Action Comics run. But I think that's a bit of history that you can keep. Why not keep the previous costumes and just go with the new ones? Because I like some of the previous costumes. They look good. And I would like them to say canon, but that's just me. And it's itching me to know if Batman stuff is still considered canon when it comes down to his costumes. If you look at Flashpoint number 5, you can see some costumes in the background. They look reminiscent to the older ones. And I even commented on Dan Didio's page on Facebook saying, are the previous Batman stuff canon? And he said, all the ones with the collars. So, the costumes, I would like to know if the previous costumes are still considered canon. Because there's certain ones I want to still consider canon. As goofy as it looks, Dick Grayson's Robin costume. I want that still to be canon. Superman's previous costume. Stuff like that. But that's just me personally. The number one thing I love about the relaunch, the number one like, is trimming the fat off the continuity. Streamlining things. Getting rid of stuff that is not necessary. Keeping the stuff that is important. Trimming off the fat that isn't necessary. I like the fact that they're condensing the timeline, that they're telling us what's canon and what's not, and certain things don't need to be canon. Batman Broken City. As great as the story is, it doesn't need to be in timeline. Or Superman for Tomorrow. That doesn't need to be in the timeline. Of course, it's not going to be because it involves Lois and Superman's marriage. But do you get what I'm saying? Is the fact that they're streamlining the continuity, they're making it easier probably, because DC's continuity was a mess. They're making the continuity easier for people like me that enjoy knowing the continuity. So that's my number one like, is trimming the fat and making it a little bit more streamlined. Number one dislike of the relaunch. Where the hell is Donna Troy, Wally West, Stephanie Brown? We know Cassandra Cain's going to show up. Where the hell are these characters? I was told Scott Snyder said he has plans for Cassandra Cain, so she's at least going to show up. But where's my girl Donna? Where's my boy Wally? Stephanie Brown. I heard she might become spoiler again. Where are these characters? There's some characters that are important that people love, like Wally, like Donna, that they haven't really announced yet. You don't have to give them their own comic, but have them show up. I can kind of see where they're going at with like Wally, because you can't have two Flashes. But why not give Wally a new identity? Kindred to, say, Nightwing's, Dick's Nightwing to Bruce's Batman. Something else, like call it like Velocity, and give him a cool new character design. People care about the character. They don't care about what costume he's wearing too much. So, if you love Wally so much, why not have him have a different costume under a different persona? You can even make a team have those characters that aren't being used, like Jade, Wally, Donna, so on and so forth. Where are these characters? I want to know, especially Donna, because I love Donna to death. So that's bothering me quite a bit. So those are my 5 likes and dislikes of the relaunch right now. My general feelings for the relaunch is I'm still happy. I'm still positive. I think a lot of things that are making people mad are things, if they get over, they'll be happy with what's going on. The stories are good. So far, I am happy with the stories. I haven't read a bad one. I've read some mediocre ones, but the stories are good. The art is good. They're being daring and bold and taking things in new directions. Will they step on some people's feet? Yes. But for the most part, I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm enjoying what's happening. And I look forward to all the rest of the stuff. And, you know, I think this is just a good move by DC. But they do need to fix those dislikes that I have, because those things are just pissing me off. Quite literally. I am having piss come off me. That's how pissed off I am. But I would like to hear your opinions. What are your 5 dislikes and likes of the relaunch? And genuinely, how do you feel? Are you in support of it like me? Are you happy about it? Are you, even though there's some stuff you dislike? Or are you still against it? Are you still wary? Are you still unsure about what you're going to do with it? Let me know. I am curious. So with that said, I'm going to end this video here. This is Andrew saying peace out for now.